All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about speed today. We're up at Interlachen Country Club in Minnesota, and we're going to hang out with Luke Benoit and Scott McDonald. They made something called the Rypstick, and we're going to do a few different tests, see how much speed we can gain, talk training in the off season. Let's get into it. So, okay, we're talking off season training, gaining speed, which you guys are good at. Where do we start?
Well, we start out, we like to do an assessment, and we've kind of whittled it down to we think you can give you a pretty good prediction within probably 90%. In 3 minutes, we can tell you how fast you should swing. So first, we're going to do a little baseline. We're going to get you warmed up. So let's have you rip a couple sevens and then driver. You can jump right into driver if you want to. We're going to get some baseline speed numbers, and then we're going to do a little test, and then we're going to go through a little program.
So the goal is to figure out if I'm optimized or not, and if there's more speed to gain.
Correct. And what we found out is if you're fairly strong and your sequence isn't very good, we can pick up a lot of speed. Okay. If you're pretty good in terms of your sequence and you're not that strong, then we probably need to focus more on the weight training and maybe how we get stronger. So you hit a couple shots here. Let's look at the table here so we can get some kind of average numbers on your speed and kind of look at the last couple. We're seeing ball speeds right in that 166 to 170 range on good ones.
Okay.
And club speeds, let's look at our club numbers here. Yeah, you're right around 117, 116. Huh. And so pretty good distance. Obviously you get it out there 310, 320 when you hit it well, right? Yeah. But you want more?
Those club head speed numbers are up than I thought they'd be.
Really?
I guess I'm just swinging well today.
Well, one thing to know, Foresight measures differently than TrackMan. Okay. So TrackMan's probably 3-4 less, and that's just how they measure it.
Interesting.
So you're probably more.
What do you trust then?
Well, to be honest, Foresight's probably more accurate, but it doesn't matter. Either one works, as long as the baseline's the same.
Gotcha. So. Interesting.
So let's do a couple tests for you, Cordy. Let's run through we have a real quick, we can do this in 3 minutes. We're gonna find out how strong you are. And we're gonna do your hand strength, so see how strong your hands are. It's actually a really simple but very predictive little tool. Okay. We got a medicine ball toss that's chest pass. Yep. Then we got an overhead test pass, chest pass. So with all those tests, we can get pretty close and dialed and predict your speed pretty well. Good. Okay. So 109.8 solid. There we go. So 116. You're actually stronger left hand.
Can I try again? Let me try.
Are you sure?
I don't believe that.
You're not going to beat the left hand.
Similar. So real similar. 112. Nice. All right. So we're going to pace it off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus a foot, 19. So a decent number there.
So like this, and sit up?
And sit up.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's about 18. All right, next one's gonna be our vertical. One step and just touch the wall. Nice. I'd call that 20 inches.
So 4 tests.
4 tests, and you could do those in 2 minutes. So for a golf pro that actually wants to give people a reason they don't hit it far, you do these 4 tests and you got a really good ballpark. Okay. So now we're gonna plug it into our matrix here. Your power rating is 84, which is strong. So now we're gonna plug you into this chart. This is some of our data that we've collected. So see that dot right there? Yep. You're that one. Okay. So based on how fast you swing and how strong you are, we'd actually expect you to swing slightly faster than you do. Okay. But it's not that far off. We're about 3 miles per hour off. We think you can get to 119.
That is great news. Okay. I'm glad I'm under the line.
Yeah. So these poor people that are above it, they tend to be skinny, they tend to jump pretty well, and they tend to be fairly weak. Okay. And these are the people that are probably most going to benefit from strength training. Gotcha. The people that are well below the line, they tend to pick up the most speed with overspeed training. Gotcha. And then there's a little bit more nuance, but it's a really cool predictive element for us.
So you're looking at, we've got our club head speed in there. Yep. What other factors did we put in there?
So then we've got our vertical jump here. Okay. And then we've got our overhead toss. Yep. Our chest pass. Okay. And then our average of our hand strength. Okay.
Got it.
Those 4 give us our power numbers.
So what do we do now?
Well, now let's go ahead and do your plan, okay?
Okay.
So let's go back to, I'm gonna have you hit driver.
Okay.
We're gonna take a look at what we see with your sequence, see if there's anything we wanna change about your swing.
Okay.
From a prescriptive standpoint. You look like you've been practicing.
I wish I have
fooling us. It's your front foot, this is your back foot, and you do a really nice job as you're going back here, loading into this trail foot right away. See how you're already 75% on your back foot before you even start your backswing. You see Stenson and a lot of tour players do this. Usually it's a signature of a lot of distance. And what's cool is you're actually not even moving your hips back too much. And I think a lot of amateurs, they tend to sway thinking they're loading into the back hip. You just bump your hips a tiny bit and load hard into that hip right there. And look at that. I mean, now you're 97% on your back foot. So you go front foot right here, and then you go back foot right there. And then as you go up to the top, now it starts to switch. And by the time you're kind of in transition right here, look at this, back to the front foot really well. So we love that sort of transition power, and now you're 83% front foot and mostly on the toe, which is typical. You've got a really typical pattern for kind of a good rotational player. And then play with a lot of shaft lean, hands are forward. Tend to see those hands forward means that you probably can do a pretty good job keeping that spin down if you need to, right? So pretty efficient driver of the ball. And then you tilt back a lot. So this reaction of the spine would be something that if you had a bad back, I'd be a little concerned with if you tilt back a lot.
Yeah.
Do you feel that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So that pelvis, left side of the pelvis bumping up a lot right there. And then tilting back, that could be kind of a little bit of lower spine compression. So slight injury concern, I'd want to make sure you're working out and getting strong enough in your core. This is a hard sequence to change. It's just kind of how you get powerful. Is there anything you've been working on to help with the back from a swing standpoint?
Not really, no.
Just don't practice too much?
Yeah, no. Just trying to swing hard, unfortunately.
There's nothing here that's a red flag from a power standpoint. More concerned from an injury standpoint, to be honest, right?
So we've done our tests, and then you come over here and you're looking for, is there anything that's like, uh-oh, he's not getting on his trail foot, or he didn't get on his, lead foot soon enough. It's just looking at those kind of big picture things.
Yeah, so let's get into your plan. I think from what I see here, Cordy, it's probably a pretty standard plan. I don't see anything that's kind of crazy. So we find almost everybody benefits from going off their knees a little bit as part of the training. Okay. So we got a nice soft mat here. This is for a counterweight cap, so if you want to work on adding more lag to your swing, which I don't think you need to, you could leave this one in, but we'll take it out for this training. Okay. And then we like to really focus on light first, and then we go heavy after that. Depends on the person how much weight we want to add to it, but we'll start out with no weights here.
Okay.
All right, so switch over to lefty now. So we do 3 lefty, 3 righty, 3 lefty. There we go, and then we're gonna add a weight to it. Really simple to put in. We just tell people hold it up so that it's easy to stick in, then you lock it in.
So why are we going off knees? What's the...
So it's a really good disassociation thing. If your core can actually do a lot of the work here and your lower body stabilized, we find that the sequence, especially from the segment of your hips to your shoulders, is gonna be much more effective.
Okay.
Because some people have where their hips actually can turn pretty fast and they outrace it, but their chest doesn't catch up. And this is the chest learning to catch up. And it also is really good for people that are steep. So if you're a steep swinger, learning how to rotate the club around your body gives you the hand speed you need to actually pick up speed. So particularly for steep people, we love it. So we'd go on to the next one here. So we add another weight, but I'm gonna jack you right up to the last level, which is all the weights in, so you can get a feel for that.
Sure.
And save your back a little bit.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
now it's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
So we're going from 270 all the way up to 360 grams here.
And what's a normal driver?
Normal driver, 310 to 320.
Okay.
Depending on your setup.
Okay. So that's what overspeed training is, right? You go under.
Yes.
And then.
Right. And then you can go heavier.
Go heavier.
You got it. That's it. All right, so now you can stand up.
Okay.
So that'd be the first exercise for most folks, and I would probably say for you as well.
Yeah.
Now the next one we're going to do is we start out with a real simple one for most people, which is just standing, feet together, and you're going to just take a step at the top of your swing. So once you're up here, we just want to step and swing hard. So we actually love just top downs. And this is for somebody that's particularly bad with their sequence. If they need some help right away, we just start with this. So hold it at the top,
Okay.
then step and swing. There we go. All right, try a lefty. Let's see how your lefty swing is.
Oh boy.
Pretty good.
Maybe I should switch.
You're almost as fast.
Yeah.
Right?
It's very close.
All right, so that's it. We'd again go add another weight and then another weight all the way up. But let's go now to our last exercise for you, which I would just say is almost like your normal golf swing. I just want to lift your heel on the backswing and go as long and fast as you can.
Okay.
So I'll just give you the feel for a heavy one, but again, we'd start with the lightest, add a weight as we go. So back to basically normal swings.
Back and then lift the heel.
Mm-hmm. And accelerate the sequence both back and through. How's your back?
We're losing it. Back is fine.
Okay.
Just the lack of coordination.
All right, so let's try a couple more drives and see if there's any more speed in there.
Yep.
We find about 80% of people will actually pick up a little speed because you're actually you went through a little neural workout here.
Yep.
Every muscle is firing, and that's kind of the idea of contrast training. Like, let's train something heavy, especially with some heavy weight at it.
Yep.
And then we go pretty light. Going back to your normal driver can be pretty effective.
Let's try, so lift the heel.
Lift the heel, long and fast going back, and trigger with that heel in the downswing.
That appeared to work.
And just a little baby draw. Huh?
Right down the target line.
312 in the air.
Oh boy. Were you rolling? Did you get that?
124.
124, Cordy?
That was great. That was
Very
good.
nice.
I like that. I love this, right? Because it feels like when you do that, I feel like my heel's way up here, and
Yep.
I
far is
feel
it
like
really
I'm
going?
back here.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Did we get the?
Let's do it again.
Do it again. Okay.
Yeah, let's do one more like that.
Did we get as fast there?
I love how you keep it in play when you're swinging hard.
I know. I honestly, the faster I swing, I still hit it just as good, thankfully.
Awesome.
I don't know how, but.
All right, so let's take a look at that one. So 122. Look at that heel. Now you got to parallel with your swing.
Okay.
Like that up there. And then using that left heel as your trigger. And I think almost everybody benefits from using that left heel well.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
Man, the top of the backswing position looks way better.
Yeah.
Just loaded.
Yeah.
I think it's training that I haven't been doing all winter, but I should have been doing.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's really not that much training. It's 10 to 15 minutes, 3 days a week.
Yeah.
But for a lot of people, that enough is gonna add some serious speed. So in 2 months, most people are up 10 to 25 yards. And for the people that are fairly strong and have a bad sequence, it can be crazy. We've had people pick up 10 to 15 miles per hour, which is like 30, 40, 50 yards. I've had people walk in and out 50 yards longer if you get the sequence going. So there's some speed there, yeah.
When you talk about sequence, you're looking at the pressure trace. Typically, or are you looking at something else when you talk
Usually
about
it starts with the pressure trace. I mean, it's ground up, right?
Yep.
First use the ground, then twist the hips and push and twist as you do that. And then the last element is definitely like, are the hands doing the right stuff here? Are we releasing it and are we creating good angles? So you can solve a lot of things with good sequence. And I think, honestly, I think beginners are taught to hit the ball straight first, and the golf ball going all over the place makes them hard to work on sequence.
Yep.
But we found that I train beginners with sequence first, and then I'll have them do some chipping and putting, but we do a lot of time just making sure the sequence is in a good spot, because otherwise you're building a golf swing around faulty fundamentals. And at some point, to be good at this game, if you don't have a good sequence, you're not going to hit it very far. And speed is so key. So, and it actually, you know, the truth is, like looking at Brody's studies and some of that strokes gained stuff, the guys with the better sequence that hit it harder actually are more accurate as a percentage of miss too, right? So you can actually hit it farther when you have a good sequence, or straighter when you have a good sequence too.
Well, awesome. We have 4 tests that folks can go do and see where they're at on some of those power tests compared. See if I'd love to hear if some folks can beat me on some of those. And then we've got the sequence. You're gonna look at that, and then we've got some overspeed training, lots of good stuff to look at this off season to increase some speed. I know that I need to get serious about it because golf season's coming up before we know it's gonna be here. So this is super good. Thanks guys for hanging
Corey.
out, I appreciate it.
Super fun.
Good to see you guys.
Good stuff.
Thanks, Corey.
There we go.